So I just did a video. I just laid out on the Agoge. I laid out talking about 12 characteristics of effective leaders in the home. Like if you're going to be a leader, you need to have these and the point of it was here's 12 characteristics, and I want you to go do a mirror check and then rate yourself. Go look in the mirror and say, where do you live up to these characteristics? So from everything that you do, what are some of the key characteristics that make you an effective leader in the home, or key qualities that make you an effective leader in the home?
So I think the ones that make you a key leader in the home are, number one, you have to lead yourself, right? You have to show that you're disciplined, right? I'll give you an example. Right now, and I don't know if this is going to be indefinite or not, but I am leading 20 other men through a 365-day alcohol-free challenge.
Amazing.
Right. And actually
Awesome.
I'm doing 433 because I'm just going to finish out the year. So we were doing October 25th to October 25th. Reason we did that is because that's when our Dad Edge Summit is, our live event. And this last year I stood on stage. I'm like, hey guys, I'm doing a year. Who wants to join me? Had 21 guys step up. I'm going to go ahead and do 433 because that's how many days are left in 2023. So I'm just going to finish out the year. I'm like, if I'm going to go to October 25th, I might as well go to the end of the year. But here's the interesting thing. My two oldest boys, because I have 4 boys, I have 17, 15, 9, and 7. My 2 oldest boys, over the past year, like suddenly we went from, I would say, like little league problems, with their circle of friends or circle of people that they, like, to big boy problems.
Yeah.
Like kids getting high in the high school bathrooms, kids drinking alcohol in the stalls of high school where they go to. They're now, when they all get together, it's not uncommon that vapes are happening, weed is happening, there's alcohol at parties, and suddenly we've gone to big boy problems. Well, my 2 oldest boys, and knock on wood, they have zero interest in drinking. They have zero interest in vaping and doing drugs. Like my 15-year-old will tell me, he's like, I ain't doing that stuff. Like, how am I going to perform on the football field, or how am I going to perform in the gym if I got that stuff in me? I ain't doing that. And he will literally, like, if his friend, he had this, I think he lost a friendship over this one.
That's
He had one
okay.
of his friends.
And that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. He had one of his buddies outside be like, hey man, like, you want to hit on this? He's like, yeah, I do. And he grabbed the vape and he freaking chucked it in the woods. And the guy was like, what are you doing? He was like, well, what are you doing? Right now, here's what I'll tell you. I can't sit there and tell my kids, like, hey, you shouldn't drink, as I'm throwing back a beer, right? You shouldn't be drinking at parties, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, as I'm drinking a beer.
Yeah.
Or you shouldn't be vaping as they see me vape.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do weed. And weed where I live now is legal.
Yeah.
If they see me doing that. So like, I think that that's really important. So I think, again, leading by example, and the tenets, the things that you hold your kids accountable for are the things that you need to be doing. Right. So I'll share another example with you as well. One of the things that we live by is you keep your word. Like you keep your word, right? And you do what you say you're going to do. I had to take my 2 oldest boys out to breakfast this morning because they're in their last month of school right now. And one of them has some missing assignments. And I had to basically give him some tough love. I was like, and this is what blows my mind, Nick. His teacher and it's in his algebra class was like, it's okay, man. Just turn him in before the exam next week. And I'm like, and I told my son, I was like, your teacher might tell you that, but that doesn't fly in our house. Your assignments are tied to your word.
Yeah.
So like, for instance, my son wants to own a business. He wants to own a gym when he's older. I was like, if you promise your members that you're going to have a new squat rack for them on Monday, and they come in Monday, be like, hey man, where's the squat rack at? And I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't really gotten around to ordering it yet. I'll do it next week when I have time. They're going to look at you and be like, you said it was going to be here.
Yeah.
And I told them, I was like, these assignments are like that, man. Like the world doesn't work like that. Oh, just turn it in next week. Oh, you didn't pay your mortgage, just turn it in next week. Oh, you didn't pay the IRS your taxes. Oh, just turn it in next week. We'll be fine. Like there are deadlines for a reason, and
and
your assignments are tied to your work.
consequences in life. There's
Right,
consequences. Yeah.
right, and consequences. So I told them, I was like, you might not get punished at school, but you'll be punished at home. I don't care what your teacher says, because the rest of the world doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
So, that's another example. So, lead by example. Also, keeping your word is another big one. And I'm happy to give you one more that we
Yeah.
work with as well. Okay. So another one is commitment. And that it's a little bit different than holding your word, right? So like for instance, if my kids commit to something, let's just say the football season, right? Or whatever, track or whatever, wrestling, we went through my kid, my 15-year-old, again, I'll use him as an example. He went out for the wrestling team this year after football, and he was kind of on the fence about it. And he was like, I think I'm going to do it because I think it'll make me more agile for football.
Mm.
Well, the kid he got challenge after challenge after challenge after challenge during wrestling season. He got sick, and then he was out for a week, and then he injured injured one of his ribs. He was out for another week. Then he got impetigo. Then he got ringworm. Then all these things, and he was losing some matches. And I could tell it was getting to him. And I could tell like there was a part of him that wanted to quit, but we have just beat this no quit attitude into them ever since they were little. And we're like, if you don't want to, so the message has always been this: finish what you start, no matter what. Yeah. Finish what you start, no matter what. So if you're not liking how the season's playing out, or this, that, or the other, you still have to finish it. Like there's no like, hey, I'm waving the white flag. I know it's the middle of wrestling season. It's really, really hard. So I'm out.
Yeah.
It's like, no, like if you don't want to wrestle, don't do it next year, but you finish the season. And the cool thing is that, my 15-year-old in particular, he had all these challenges, and he was very quiet, very stoic, but we knew he was frustrated, but he finished. And there was a part of us where we were like, we know he's tempted to quit, but he didn't. So like committing to whatever it is, finish what you start.